Lesson 15, Side 2.
Practice drills and exercises. 1. Modal perfect continuous. Modal perfect. Change the sentences using a modal perfect form. Listen to the models.
1. You should be a diplomat.
You should have been a diplomat.
You should have been a diplomat.
You should have been a diplomat.
2. I couldn't go.
I couldn't have gone.
I couldn't have gone.
I couldn't have gone.
Now do the exercise.
1. You should be a diplomat.
You should have been a diplomat.
2. I couldn't go.
I couldn't have gone.
3. We'd tell you.
We would have told you.
4. She may know.
She may have known.
5. I should go to the drugstore while I'm downtown.
I should have gone to the drugstore while I was downtown.
6. How could you say that to him?
How could you have said that to him?
7. He must not know anything about it.
He must not have known anything about it.
Modal perfect continuous. Change the sentences using the modal perfect continuous. Listen to the models.
1. I should be working.
I should have been working.
I should have been working.
I should have been working.
2. She may be calling.
She may have been calling.
She may have been calling.
She may have been calling.
Now do the exercise.
1. I should be working.
I should have been working.
2. She may be calling.
She may have been calling.
3. He could be earning money instead of going to school.
He could have been earning money instead of going to school.
4. He may be dreaming instead of watching his driving.
He may have been dreaming instead of watching his driving.
5. She ought to be paying attention.
She ought to have been paying attention.
6. He must not be studying very hard this year.
He must not have been studying very hard this year.
Seven. Those wild children must be having the time of their lives.
Those wild children must have been having the time of their lives.
2. Modal perfect. Short answers. Speaker A. Use the cues and form a question as in the models. Take the part of Speaker B. Reply with a short answer, affirmative or negative, using a modal plus have. Listen to the models.
1. Have the money. Buy the car.
If you had had the money, would you have bought the car?
No, I wouldn't have. 2. Be able to get a ticket. Go to the concert.
If you had been able to get a ticket, would you have gone to the concert?
Yes, I would have. Now you do the exercise. 3. Need a new suit. Buy a dark blue one.
If you had needed a new suit, would you have bought a dark blue one?
4. Buy a car this year. Get a small one.
If you had bought a car this year, would you have gotten a small one?
5. Be an author. Write historical novels.
If you had been an author, would you have written historical novels?
6. Remember. Tell us about it.
If you had remembered, would you have told us about it?
4. Past participle used as noun modifier. Substitute.
Listen to the models.
I must say we were all more than a little amazed by his actions.
I must say, we were all more than a little amazed by his actions.
I must say we were all more than a little amazed by his actions.
I must say, we were all more than a little amazed by his actions.
Annoyed.
I must say, we were all more than a little annoyed by his actions.
I must say we were all more than a little annoyed by his actions.
I must say, we were all more than a little annoyed by his actions.
Now do the exercise.
I must say we were all more than a little amazed by his actions.
I must say we were all more than a little amazed by his actions.
Annoyed.
I must say we were all more than a little annoyed by his actions.
Astonished.
I must say we were all more than a little astonished by his actions.
Confused.
I must say we were all more than a little confused by his actions.
Disappointed.
I must say we were all more than a little disappointed by his actions.
Puzzled.
I must say we were all more than a little puzzled by his actions.
Troubled.
I must say we were all more than a little troubled by his actions.
Amazed.
I must say we were all more than a little amazed by his actions.
Change the sentences into phrases in which the participle modifies the noun. Follow the affirmative and negative examples that are given. Listen to the models.
1. The door was closed.
The closed door.
The closed door.
The closed door.
2. The door was not closed.
The door not closed.
The door not closed.
The door not closed.
Now do the exercise.
1. The door was closed.
The closed door.
2. The door was not closed.
The door not closed.
3. The books were not needed.
The books not needed.
4. The car was borrowed.
The borrowed car.
5. The papers were burned.
The burned papers.
6. The papers were not burned.
The papers not burned.
7. The experiment was completed.
The completed experiment.
8. The food was not needed.
The food not needed.
Fill the blanks with one of the 8 phrases you formed above. Ready? Begin.
1. By the library were sold to used book dealers.
'The books not needed by the library were sold to used book dealers.
2. It was an important conference. Behind, we could hear voices, but we could not make out what was being said.
'It was an important conference. Behind the closed door we could hear voices, but we could not make out what was being said.
3. There was no money among.
There was no money among the burned papers.
4. By the hospital was given to the poor.
'The food not needed by the hospital was given to the poor.
5. The scientist reported on.
The scientist reported on the completed experiment.
6. Was in an accident.
The borrowed car was in an accident.
5. Past participle, as true adjective and as noun modifier. Add very to the sentences if possible. If not possible, say no change and read the sentence as it is. Listen to the models.
1. The police were puzzled by the crime.
The police were very puzzled by the crime.
The police were very puzzled by the crime.
The police were very puzzled by the crime.
2. The money was stolen during the early evening hours.
No change. The money was stolen during the early evening hours.
No change. The money was stolen during the early evening hours.
No change. The money was stolen during the early evening hours.
Now you do the exercise.
1. The police were puzzled by the crime.
The police were very puzzled by the crime.
2. The money was stolen during the early evening hours.
No change. The money was stolen during the early evening hours.
3. The play was produced late last year.
No change. The play was produced late last year.
4. Everyone was amused by the laughing children.
Everyone was very amused by the laughing children.
5. We were troubled by the results of the experiment.
We were very troubled by the results of the experiment.
6. Everyone there seemed to be confused.
Everyone there seemed to be very confused.
7. She was not surprised when he didn't call as he promised.
She was not very surprised when he didn't call as he promised.
8. The meeting was attended by about 40 people.
No change. The meeting was attended by about 40 people.
9. How disappointed we were.
How very disappointed we were.
Form another sentence in which you use the italicized past participle to modify the italicized noun. There is more than one correct answer. Any reasonable sentence will do. Study the model.
1. My watch is broken.
I took my broken watch to the jeweler to see if he could fix it. Or, I had to throw away my broken watch. Now you do the exercise.
2. The car was stolen. 3. The money was burned. 4. The food was frozen. 5. His coat was torn. 6. The toys were broken.
7. The plans were completed. Listening practice. An around-the-world trip. Listen to the dialogue and then decide whether the statements are true or false. The text of the dialogue is printed in the appendix on page 263. Don Jones and Tom White are longtime friends. Both are businessmen, but they work for different companies. Mr. White begins speaking.
When are you leaving on your trip, Don?
A week from Saturday, Tom.
It sounds wonderful to me. You know, when I was growing up, I don't think I knew anybody who'd been around the world. Now people go all the time.
I know. Tom, I never dreamed I'd be making a trip like this. Thank goodness the company's paying for it.
Isn't your wife going?
Oh, no, we couldn't afford it. And besides that, this is a business trip. I'll be traveling pretty fast.
Are you all ready to go?
No, I'm not. I've got a real problem with clothes.
How's that?
I don't know what clothes to take. You can only carry a certain amount on an airplane, and I need a lot of things.
Why do you need so much?
The weather will be so different in the various countries. Some places it'll be summer and hot, and in others it'll be winter and freezing cold. I need a top coat, an overcoat, a raincoat. I need winter suits and summer suits.
I see what you mean. At least you can buy shirts and socks and things you can wash.
And that's right.
You know, I've got an idea. A fellow in our office made a trip around the world a few months ago. He must have had the same problem. Why don't you come on over and talk to him?
Good idea. Thanks, Tom.
Decide whether the statements about the dialogue are true or false. Ready? Begin. 1. Don Jones is the one who is planning to take a trip.
True.
2. Mr. Jones is going on a trip around the world.
True.
3. When Mr. White was growing up, most of his friends took an around-the-world trip.
False.
4. Mr. Jones' wife is going with him.
False.
5. The company is paying Mr. Jones airfare, but he is going to pay the fare for his wife.
False.
6. Mr. Jones feels he has a problem because he needs to take a lot of clothes and he can't carry everything he wants to take.
True.
7. Mr. Jones finally decided to take 1 raincoat and 2 summer suits.
False.
8. Someone in Mr. White's office took an around-the-world trip a few months ago.
True.
9. Mr. White said he would ask him what clothes he took with him and would tell Mr. Jones all about it.
False.
End of lesson 15.